So
I think that I don't think that clock's going to give us the right. But I call this special amended session of Mayor and City Council meeting at 6 p.m. this Thursday, March 15, 2018, City Hall Complex Chambers, and we're going to go ahead and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. You'll all join us, please. Mr. Lucero, would you lead us in the pledge?
Sure, me by pleasure, Mayor.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And you may be seated. Thank you so much. I want to welcome our consul back from their trip to D.C. Welcome all back. I'm glad you guys came. You don't look frozen, so
Great learning experience.
Must have been okay. I'm gonna go ahead and before we go and call to the public, and we have an outside attorney tonight. I'm gonna make a motion to go into executive session, so we won't take time. Thank you. We have a second. Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and they're off to executive session. So we're gonna go back to our regular special session meeting, and we've got a call to the publics. You here. So as I call you out, you may step up to the podium, state your name and address, and say whatever you'd like to say. You have up to 5 minutes, but usually I hope you can say it less than that, maybe 3 or 2. But I have Mr. Jose H. Silva. If you'd like to step up, please.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jose Silva. I live at 728 East Skyline Drive here in Nogales, and I'm here to support my friend Mark Williams for city attorney. I met him in 2004, and he's been true and honest to me ever since. He helped me with a motorcycle case, no driver's license and stuff, and after that he did my sister's divorce, and he never promises or makes like false guarantees, you know, as an attorney. He will fight for you, though. He will fight for you, man. And he keeps it honest, you know. He's a really good guy, and he's from Nogales now, you know. In the time, he's not born here or raised here, but I think that in the amount of time that he's spent here with us, he loves Nogales and loves the people here, and I know he'll do a real good job. I know he'll do good for us as city attorney. All right, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Silva, for your comments.
Thank you, Joe.
And I'll go ahead, and we have also Angie Yarborough. If you'd like to step up.
Good evening. My name is Angie Yarborough, and I live at 1103 in Rio Rico. And I'm here to support also Mr. Williams. He is a very well-known gentleman that I know that he's familiar with the community. And I know him for quite a few years. He's a good family man. He's a very supportive of his children. Also, I have used his services before, and he's really very dedicated, very committed. I think he's a good element for the city of Nogales attorney. And when I used his services, he was very respectful, very well mannered, also very kind gentleman, and he's always kept right on schedule until my case was dismissed. So I really believe that he's a very committed man, and that he'll do a good job for the city of Nogales as the attorney. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yarborough. Next we have Marcia Umada. Would you like to step up, state your name and address, please?
Buenas tardes a todos. Yo vengo a apoyar a Mark Williams también. Creo que él hará muy bien para nuestra comunidad como City Attorney. Y yo le agradezco por todo el apoyo a Mark, para mí y para mi familia.
Muchas gracias, señor Omar. We also have next Nick Bishop. If you'd like to step up and give your name and address, please.
Good evening. I'm Nick Bischoff. I'm an attorney. I live in Tubac. I also would like to support Mr. Williams for city attorney. I've known him since 2004. In the intervening years, I've probably had every professional opportunity there is to interact with him as an attorney. I've been a deputy county attorney, an assistant attorney general, and in private practice. So in those capacities, I've litigated against him. I've litigated by his side when we've had clients in common. I've always found him to be an outstanding attorney, and I think that the highest praise one attorney can give another is to say that the last few years my practice has been limited because of commitments I have with the federal court, and I don't take other clients, and Mr. Williams is the person who I send people to. I've trusted him with family and friends, and he's just a wonderful attorney, wonderful person. Thank
Thank you so much, Mr. Bishop, for that professional comment. So, done with the call to the public and executive session, and we go to the discussion items, and we're going to go ahead and start with number 2, discussion and possible action on retaining Mark Williams as Nogales City Attorney and approving a simple 6-month contract with the City of Nogales. I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
Discussion, Mayor?
Yes, go ahead, Councilman.
Yes, Mayor. I had a meeting, a 90-minute meeting with the mayor today in the conference room, and we talked about several matters, but what was important is when the mayor walked in to the office, he gave me this envelope and said it was from the attorney, Mark Williams. And what's inside here, and I will give this to the city clerk for record, is a lawsuit that was filed against me. And he brought this, he gave it to the mayor to give to me to go ahead and try to go ahead and intimidate me, threaten me, and above all, he wanted me, because he knew in the newspaper article that I had said clearly that I was going to vote against him, and very specific from the mayor, that if I voted against him, that he would use this against me. So I highlighted for the whole public to see this, but he is not going to threaten me, he's not going to intimidate me, and above all, his lack of competency as an attorney is what he uses to go ahead and try to get people to swing over to his side, because he has nothing else to do. And this is why, with this, trying to do this underhanded method, and that's why I bring this out to the public, so that you all know what he tried to do to me behind closed doors. He didn't even have the guts to come and give it to me himself. He sent the mayor to give it to me. That's what he did. Now, this is the division that he has caused among the employees. This is the underhandedness that he's caused within the culture of our employees here, and the division that he has caused among all of the council members, though, too. Like I said before, I'm not going to support him to continue on as a city attorney. But I resent this very much. But he can do what he wants to. But I'm leaving this, all of this, with a city clerk to go ahead, and I want this, Dr. Felix, to be a part of the records of what I said and what was given to me by the mayor, to try and coerce me to swing my vote over to him. And I am not going to do that. And I want the public to know what occurred. There's nothing for me to hide. I'm not going to step aside, and I'm not going to vote for him. So you all understand this, and this will be a part of the public record.
Are you done, Mr. Councilman?
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Mr. Councilman, I have to disagree with you as far as that I took it with any statements of course in your vote. There was no comment saying that he sent you to threaten you. You jumped to that conclusion, and I just want to clarify that it was just, I got, yes, he did bring it to my attention. I decided to bring it to you. It wasn't that he sent it, because I didn't want him to get involved in that, because I didn't want any kind of conflict of any sort that might turn uncivil. So I presented it to you, but I'm going to let Mr. Williams go ahead and speak out on that.
I'd like, if I may, ask Mr. Verona what he's holding up. I haven't spoken to him, so I don't know what he's holding up or what he's talking about.
The same papers you gave to the mayor.
I don't know what is it, sir? Could you state that? Is it
It's a lawsuit.
who is it from and who's it against?
Well, you should know. It's against me. You gave it to the mayor. The mayor told me you gave it to him.
I don't know what he told you. I wasn't there, sir.
I'm telling you what he told me.
Well, I wasn't
Did you
there.
give him this?
I don't even know what you have, sir.
Yes, you do know because, excuse me, do you mind if I do this without you guys getting involved?
I don't know, you guys are having a dialogue, I thought
Well,
I'd jump
I
in.
would prefer.
So who has the floor?
Well, right now, I
You
guess
did go to
Mr.
the,
Williams.
you did go to the courthouse and ask for these papers, so don't try to deny and act innocent.
I don't know what papers you're talking about, sir, but Mayor,
Well, to be honest with you, at this point, I'm assuming that it's the ones I gave you. But
Yes,
it's-
they're the same ones
but-
you gave.
But, you know, it's, you can see them and see if they're the same ones.
Quite
I don't wanna-
evident that those papers were given as a method to coerce me to change my vote. And I'm not gonna change my vote. Mayor, would you give those to the,
Can you pass them on to the clerk, please? But again, to clarify, there was no coercion about this. It was just something to discuss. And again, it's to make sure that everything's clarified and on the up and up, you know. So again, I think that's exactly why I didn't want him involved with you, because we didn't want any problems. You know, thank God there were no problems.
there was
But-
no city business involved with that, so I
but,
don't know why.
Well, the city business that he approached me was that on the certain city things, some of the issues there apply to some of the, you know, rules. And right now, I don't know if you don't want to get into that, but that was the only reason that I brought him towards you, Mr. Councilman. We can always discuss it in a future date, but let's leave that out. It's not in the agenda. We don't want to get away from it. But go ahead, Mr. Councilman.
I just want clarification, Mayor. Mr. Williams, did you produce those documents?
yeah, and looking what's in the folder, yes, I obtained those documents on my own time, and I
And you-
gave those to the mayor.
Okay, with any instruction to,
No instructions whatsoever.
and what was the intent of sharing those documents with the mayor, if I may ask?
I believe that the city personnel manual requires people to have good character and good moral background. I became aware of allegations from the past. I think we're getting into an item that's not on the agenda, so we should be very careful.
I think so. I think we don't want to get too much into that. Yeah, we can always call a special session for that. We can always,
Absolutely, Mayor.
and discuss it.
I know what the intent was.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So any, okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and discuss that in another thing. So we'll stay away from that issue.
And then on this issue on the motion, has the city attorney ever been sanctioned by the Arizona Bar Association?
Do you want me to respond?
Yes, please do.
Yes, I did receive what you would probably refer to as a sanction.
And what was the reason for the sanction?
It came from a case back in 2009, and it was a case where I represented a person back in 2009.
So what was the purpose of the sanction? That you represented them?
Well, no, not that I represented him, it's just the representation that he obtained from me.
That it was incompetent representation?
I don't recall the exact words, sir. Certain findings were presented to me. I could have disputed them. I chose to accept what the State Bar found. They put me on probation, and I completed it. I am an attorney in good standing with the Arizona State Bar.
No, I understand that, but I got a gentleman send all of this information to us. You didn't disclose it. So, did you bring copies of it with you?
No, sir, I did not.
Well,
I wasn't asked to discuss it, sir, or else I would have.
well, I'd like to see those. Okay?
Okay, I believe the State Bar has all that information.
Will you get it for us?
I can try, yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Any other comments or? Yes.
I just have a question for Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir.
On your municipal government experience, do you have the minimum requirements to be a city attorney?
Well, sir, I have represented people for the last 14, 15 years. I've represented people in different capacities, in different cases. For example, there was one case where a Santa Cruz County deputy was fired from his job. And I represented him through that process and helped him to get his job back. He was a Santa Cruz County deputy, was in the newspaper. That was a successful case. So, have I ever been a city attorney before? No, I have not. But I've been in federal court. I've been in state courts up and down the state of Arizona. I've represented probably 1,000 or more people in my years of practice.
But to perform your duties as a city attorney, I mean, it's totally different than representing people in court. I mean, this is a city government. It's not Superior Court or Justice Court or anything like that. It's a city government where we have 300 employees, and we are responsible for the welfare of the employees and of the 20,000 people that live in the city of Nogales, and contracts dealing like with the IOI, with building, all kinds of different things that you don't go to court. You don't go to court, and we're dealing with the general population of a city, not people that are in trouble with the law or need to be defended or prosecuted or whatever. It's a totally different game than you know. I understand you're a very good attorney and you help a lot of people out and all that, but right now here at the city of Nogales, I mean, we're having all kinds of issues and problems. The council, a divided council, is becoming more divided, and we need to work together, we as a council, to move Nogales forward. Right now, threatening the city manager that, you know, he's going to get arrested, or you're going to, whatever came out in the paper, I really don't exactly know how to word it. That gives Nogales a bad light. Everything that's happening right now, it's giving Nogales a very bad light. Dr. Felix is tied up. All his time is tied up in dealing with all these issues that are coming up, and he's not performing to his 100% as a city manager, going for economic development, going for tourism, and pushing Nogales forward. We're not moving forward. We're just battling amongst ourselves. The employees, they don't know if they're going to have a job tomorrow or the next day, or there's too much uncertainty. There's no stability. And what this city needs is stability, and we need to move forward. And that's huge. That's huge, because the people that elected us to this office are depending on us to do the right thing. And we all have to work together to do the right thing, and to work in harmony, and to work together to be successful. And that was the reason for my question to you.
May I respond?
Sure.
Okay, thank you, sir. When I first came here in the position of city attorney, I looked at the computers in my office, and I found things that were, in my opinion, inappropriate. Imagine, sir, if you knew somebody in the city attorney's office was preparing a civil lawsuit against you in the person's own name, and they're using the computer to do that. If it was against Councilman Verona or anybody else on the council, I would be very upset. Okay, I found that. Okay, somebody, and I'm not mentioning names, I know who it was, prepared a civil lawsuit in that person's own name, not in the capacity of anybody else, but in the person's own name, using it against somebody that we all know. If it was against you, Mr. Verona, Mr. Ross, anybody, I would be furious. I wouldn't tolerate that. When I came here, I discovered that one of the computers in the office was being used by a person to conduct their own tax preparation business, their own business dealing with housing refinance. I discovered that one of the employees in my office was being used to work on another member's, a city employee's divorce case, and I'm avoiding names. I think the people of the city of Nogales have the duty, have the right to know how the property of the city of Nogales is being used, and it's improper. People were coming and going when they wished to. People were working for other employers during the time they're working for the city of Nogales. There were a lot of improper things going on, and I'm avoiding mentioning names, okay? So I issued a memo stating the work hours are 8 to 5. The computers are for the use of the city, for city business, not for your own personal stuff, okay? I tried to do the right thing, and that's why a lot of the stuff is coming out. I agree with you. We should work together, okay? But we all have to follow the rules. We have to follow the charter. You mentioned some things about having somebody arrested and things like that. The charter for the city of Nogales is like the Constitution for our country. It's the law. We have to follow it, okay? The city council can get rid of me anytime they want to. That's what the charter says. My interpretation of when you all voted on February 7th was that it was an at-will situation, okay? That was my understanding. And so if the city council wants to get rid of me, they can do that. The city manager doesn't have the power to remove me according to the charter. So when the city manager comes in and cuts off my access codes and prevents me from doing work that I need to be doing, well, it's a problem. And we all have to follow the laws. That's me, the city manager, the city council. It's a responsibility for all of us. Is it possible you could ask me a question that I don't have the answer to? Yes, it is possible, okay? But I know how to find the answer. I went to law school, and they teach you how to look at the laws and find the answers to questions. So I may not have the question for you right now, but I can get it for you. Councilman Lucero asked me to prepare a memorandum that was addressed a number of things that he had concerns about and questions about. I did that, and I sent it out to all of you, and I hope you found that helpful. I want to work with all of you, but at the same time, I don't want to be a part of some cover-up just for the sake of having peace. We're going to cover up these things so the city doesn't know about it. I don't think that's appropriate. So that would be my answer to the question, sir.
And it's, are you done, Councilman? And that's one of the things that I remember when I came in on the council, and if I'd have a legal question, and I'd take it to the attorney that was here at the time, Mr. Machado, he didn't have the answer. So he said, I'll get back to you. And then he'd have his secretaries research it. And then later he'd come with the answer. The more questions I asked, then I noticed that he got more on the ball and started doing his own research. So, you know, it's like you said, it's all about, there's so much information out there that I notice attorneys are always researching. And my experience so far with Mr. Williams is that nobody can beat him in researching. Nobody can read and retain the information that he does when he searches something. It's like a photographic memory. So not only that, he gets to the bottom of it right away. He's been here at all hours, working, checking, researching things. Not like some of the other attorneys that sometimes we'd have them show up only 2 days a week most of the time. We're lucky we got 3 days. So this is the kind of person, his work ethics that are, and as far as division, I saw the division come when Mr. Kissinger started lying to the council here a few meetings ago. When you went through that process, Mr. Varona, that we were going to go about selecting a city manager, it broke down there because Mr. Kissinger didn't do his due. He told me one thing, he told you another. And employees are not supposed to lie to us. So that started division right there. I'm sorry about that. I'll get this here out of the way. But anyway, that's the thing that caused division. The other division was here by our city manager. When he took out of context that memorandum that he sent, didn't have all the facts, part truth, part innuendos, part rumors, that there was a break-in, and there was never a break-in, and he should have done his due diligence and checked the cameras, gotten the right information before he sent any memorandum to us. That caused problems. That caused rumors, that caused innuendos, that caused division, and between these two gentlemen, instead of doing their due diligence, that's what caused the problem with a difference of opinions. Now, Mr. Williams comes into all this, and now he's getting victimized, and everyone wants to dump on him. He's not been given an opportunity. As a matter of fact, the city manager or any of the staff go and get legal counsel because they've got their ideas. They haven't even paid him. Now, That's a problem. That's why, you know, and again, they say because you haven't turned in. Now, I have a problem with that because we should all be working. We should be professional enough to do your jobs. You're getting the big bucks. You're supposed to be doing it.
Calmly.
So, calmly, you can hear me both ways.
I can hear you.
Then,
Please.
okay. So then,
Say it calmly.
I can say it any way I
Say it
do,
calmly.
sir. Don't you challenge me, sir.
Say it
I
calmly.
am the chairman in charge. You're
Say
out of
it
line.
calmly.
You
Say
lay
it
down.
calmly.
Okay, so these are the problems that we're experiencing. And we're not going to lay over and just let it, certain councilmen have their way. There's a lot of problems going on in the city that's been going on, and we need to address those problems. They've been existing before Mr. Williams ever got here. But now that he's starting to look into matters, everybody's getting nervous. So I'll leave it at that. Go ahead, Councilman Lucero.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Seemed like not that long ago we had our planning retreat, and we were all on the same page, and we all had visions, and how things have changed in such a short period of time. I don't know what's happened. Change is difficult. Bringing in a new manager, bringing in a new attorney, there seems to be conflict between these two gentlemen, and hopefully they can resolve whatever their personnel issues are. As a manager for a number of years, that's pretty much all you deal with is personnel issues. I would like to have said that a manager gets to actually run the city, but in fact, all you do as a manager is pretty much deal with personnel issues. So I think the sooner the manager and the attorney can get together and resolve some of these personnel issues for the betterment of the city, the better, and the sooner they can work collaboratively and to our benefit as council members, the better. I'm discouraged with what took place with Dr. Varona and his situation. I don't believe that was appropriate, but right now it doesn't appear we are sticking with our plan to move forward. We're going in several different directions where we become fractionalized. I don't know if a vote on the attorney right now will resolve one thing or another. I personally would rather have us take a step back and maybe we get together as a council member and have a discussion on a pathway forward where we're all in agreement, as opposed to picking sides and then being disgruntled over the process. But I would rather have a discussion on how we move forward together instead of breaking down into these little personnel disputes. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Yes, Councilman Rojas.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I know that when Mark Williams came on board, I said some very positive things about him, and I still feel the same way. I haven't changed my opinion. I saw him come in, energetic. He was motivated. I think along the way, I think he was embarrassed by having the access codes taken away. He didn't know whether the key to his door was going to open his office. I thought that was a slap on the face on him. And to be honest, I think I was more angry than he was. And it does fall on management. And I got to tell you, Dr. Felix, and I'll say it to you to your face, I'm really disappointed in the way things are going. And you know, there was a time that I talked to Councilman Varona. This was some years ago, and we had a very pleasant conversation, and we said, you know, maybe someday we'll be able to be in the same council or serve as a public servant. And you know what? I was like looking forward to it, just like I am with the rest of the council here. I'm not here, especially as an educator, to come and get embarrassed. I'm here to do the job for this community. And I think when we were at the retreat, I'm glad you mentioned that, Councilman Lucero. It was very positive, and we wanted to work together. But you're not bringing us together at this point. People are getting embarrassed. Whoever they are, they deserve respect and dignity. And we're not seeing that. So I suggest that you get your act together and get together with the attorney. And to be honest, Mayor, I'm ready to vote today to keep Mr. Williams on. I think that he has been embarrassed enough through a month process. I think he deserves to be here and serve for the city of Nogales.
And I felt a 6-month contract is reasonable because it's still at will. Clause of 30-day severance on it. So he's been working hard. He's one of these, like I said, work ethics, and we're not going to find somebody that has put more time into the city than Mr. Williams. But go ahead. We have Councilman Barona.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to clarify to the public that, Mr. Kissinger, you've never lied to me. Everything was on the up and up when we did that, when we had agreed to go on a city manager search. Everything was...
So then you lied to me in front of the city manager. So either you were telling one the truth or you were telling a lie to the other.
Dr. Felix, you have represented this community with distinction, honesty, and integrity. Everything you have done, as far as my opinion is concerned, has the support of the community. Continue as you are going on. You are, remember, Dr. Felix, you work for 7 people, not for one person. Other people have misconstrued and think that they work for one person. They do not. You take your directions from the majority of this council through legal action, not on a day-to-day basis coming here. Not even if they're city workers or they're appointed. That's who you work for. All 7 of us through legal action. That's how we set the direction for the city. And that has gone astray though too. So I just want you both to know you're doing a fine job. I support the both of you, and I hope that you continue to do what you're doing in the professional manner that you do. Thank you.
Dr. Barona, I think Mr. Felix has admitted to me that you call him, give him orders, and he tries to execute them. So take your own advice. Thank
Yes, that's. I don't quite agree with you, Mayor, but if you want to go in to take your own advice, remember, you criticized Mr. Machado, and you were the one that says, he saved us $300 million, we should vote for him to keep him.
And we're still working on that project. They appealed it, we're working on it, and that's why we're keeping, yes, we're keeping him just for that. But that doesn't give him the right to come into the city and give orders to our city manager, because I heard he came in and yelled at him there.
I yelled at him? No, that's not. Is that true what he's saying? Say it right here in the public, Dr. Felix. Is that true what the mayor said?
Has Mr. Machado come to your office since we fired him?
He said that I yelled at you and I went into your office. Is that true what he said?
Not yelled. I said you give him orders.
Is it true what he's saying?
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Barona, you've asked for items to be put on the agenda,
yes,
just like any other city council.
Just like anybody else. I have that right to do that.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor, we're off the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Counselor. We're going to
That's
go
an
ahead
easy
and
out.
continue with
That's an easy out, Mr.
what's at hand. I think Mr. Newbar hasn't said anything. He's been kind of quiet.
I think part of the problem we've got is that everybody kept saying we were going to go ahead and have a search for a city attorney. Mr. Machado gave us chances many times. He said, I will I will resign once you go ahead and search for the new attorney, and we will go through it, vent the deal, pick from a list of the best attorneys that you think. And that was always the opinion. It always never happened. It always seemed to happen that it just died down. It just died. Part, I think, with the problem with Mr. Williams is that he was brought to us unknown and just put on our lap. And I think everybody was still expecting that we were going to go ahead and have a list of attorneys. Hopefully, Mr. Williams would have applied for it. But we would have had a list of 10 different attorneys that could have. Here's a list of the what is needed to be a city attorney. Somebody would have helped us pick what was considered the best. We never had that opportunity. Maybe we would have all picked, or we would have ended up with Mr. Williams, but we never had that opportunity. And I think that has also been a problem. And I suggest that no matter what happens, that's what we should do. We should be looking for them to give us a list. Mr. Williams can apply, anyone can apply. All the attorneys here in Nogales, anybody in Tucson, they can apply, and then we have a chance to pick for the best. In the meantime, there has been a big problem created, and part of the community believes that Mr. Williams was hired as a gunslinger for Mayor Doyle, that he would go ahead and pick out who Mayor Doyle wanted to get out and fire and whatever. So that is the impression that the community has gotten.
Yes.
And I think one way or another, we've got to end that. We've got to go back to doing what we should be doing. And again, if it takes going ahead and looking for an attorney where Mr. Williams can apply, and if everybody's is then picking him, then the whole council and the community was able to have a choice. And again, I think the problem is where he was just brought in, right, and given to us and said, this is it, no, there's no other choice, and Mr. Machado's gone, and here's your choice, take it or leave it. And that I think was what has created the problem, and the idea that he's there under your leadership to get rid of people that you basically don't like.
Well, we're not getting rid of anybody right now.
Well,
Mr.
I think the employees think that. I think the majority of the employees are nervous, are scared, that they don't exactly know what is going on. And there are certain procedures to follow. I had to follow them. When I first got on the council for the first time, I figured there was people, again, that were not doing their work. But it wasn't that easy to get rid of them. In all government positions, you have to follow certain rules, certain regulations.
Definitely.
And again, if people are not comfortable, there was the comment made that it was toxic, that working here with the city of Nogales was toxic. And that was said in Tucson and Phoenix. Everywhere I had people call me to make that comment, right? And again, most of us are not here for a day-to-day. I'm not here overlooking Mr. Williams. I'm not here overlooking Dr. Felix. I'm not here for that. So I don't know exactly what goes on or not. But there does seem to be a very toxic attitude in the city. Whatever brought it on, it's here.
And
right? And again, how to handle it, I think, is left up to the seven of us.
Right. Thank you, Councilman Cian. Go ahead, Councilman Lucero.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When Mr. Williams was retained, I believe I asked the question if somebody could address the terms of the employment, and we had a lot of discussion that I think left a lot of us with impressions of what the terms of his employment was going to be, and we've since learned that each of us had a misunderstanding of what was a contract, because we in essence don't have a contract in front of us. I would much prefer that we maybe use the pool attorney to craft a contract to present to us that clearly spells out the terms and conditions of employment, so we don't get stuck with what a 6 month means, what does a month mean, that we have a solid contract that has been reviewed by an attorney, that we don't have right now that could review a contract to represent the mayor and council. That's what I'd rather see, is that we get an attorney to prepare a contract that represents the city in preparing a contract. Right now, if we were to ask for a contract to be presented, we don't have one. And we,
We have a contract.
is it in our packet?
Yeah, it was in the packet. Matter of fact, it was signed as to form by an
Yeah.
attorney that you guys.
There is
There's
a contract.
No, yes, we have it right here, and it's,
So
but that's what we're voting on.
so you said it was 6 months, is that the term of the
Yes.
contract?
Yes, it's a term, and it's very, it's pretty much very basic. It was already approved by, I guess we have here,
As to form.
pardon?
It was approved as to form, correct?
Right there.
Approved as to form?
Yeah, I don't know
That's the
where they
form.
got that.
Well,
attorney.
we have, I sent it to this firm
Right.
of Sleuth, Sacrison and Rogers, one of the most prestigious firms in the state. Mr. Sleuth himself has been a former president of the state bar, and he's been in practice since 1960, over 57 years that he's been serving in his field. And I expected somebody from his firm to review it and sign off on it, but instead, Mr. Sleuth took the time to actually review it himself, and it says in reference to employment services agreement for Mr. Mark L. Williams. Dear Mayor Doyle, I was asked to review the employment services agreement between the City of Nogales and Mark L. Williams for Mr. Williams to become city attorney. I was asked to do this on behalf of you and the City of Nogales. It is my opinion that the employment services agreement is proper. I see no objection to it being signed by the city manager. I'm not making any comment about the terms of the agreement because I believe those were negotiated. My opinion is that assuming the terms of the agreement are satisfactory to you and the city council, then there is no legal impediment as to why the agreement should not be signed. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to give me a call. And Mr. Tom Sleuth actually signed it.
And so, Mayor, this is the contract you're asking us to?
No, the contract is right here.
No, I'm saying, yeah, this
Yes,
is the
this is the
contract.
contract.
Yes.
That's right there. It's for 6 months.
And everyone's on the same page with what's in this contract?
I'm not,
Is there something that's not understood, or is that?
That's what I'm asking, is everyone,
I am.
all right? You're not?
I mean, the question was, is there a contract before the contract? There is a
Yes,
contract.
there is a contract.
Was it approved as to form? It has been approved as to form.
Yes, sir.
So that's,
And all the
Done.
terms and conditions, no one has any questions on?
Oh,
no, because I don't accept the contract.
Okay, so then we call for the question. We might as well just go ahead and.
Mayor?
Wait, is there something that you want to say?
On the contract, the only one thing I was questioning is whether the city agrees any increase of the 2% or more applied generally to the organization will as also be applied to Williams' salary.
Well, that was kind of standard language on the previous contracts, but is there a problem with scratching that out, Mr.
No,
Williams?
no problem whatsoever.
So we'll go ahead and
There's no
say on the salary,
no value.
on the salary where the city agrees that any increase of 2% or more, we will scratch that out from the contract
That's fine.
and take that out.
Can I continue? And basically, I want to mention to the public that, again, we're here for the community. We got voted in by the community. As for me, it's my first term, and process of handling any business. We're here, the city is our business, is the biggest thing we got to respond to. We got to respond to the people that got us or put me here in this chair. And I think that basically, the terms, the community, employment, all that has been brought up. We are not working as a team. We are not working as a team, and that's my main thing. I do everything, try to do everything as a team. I look up to all these gentlemen on my left and my right as human beings, and we gotta be more representative of the community. So basically, you know, the council in general should be a neutral, and we should go with our hearts of what's best for the community. Just want to make that remark.
Thank you, Councilman Maldonado.
I'll call for the question, Mayor.
Okay, we've had plenty of discussion.
Request a roll call vote, Mayor?
Roll call vote. We'll start with me. And I vote to approve this motion to retain Mr. Mark Williams as Nogales City Attorney, approving a 6-month contract with the City of Nogales. I vote aye.
Mr. Maldonado,
Nay.
Mr. Lucero,
Aye.
Mr. Rojas,
Aye.
Mr. Barona,
No.
Mr. Venecian,
Nay,
Is there a conflict of interest in that vote?
I don't see any conflict of interest at all, perceived or actual or perceived. None.
Okay.
Mr. Diaz,
Nay.
Okay. So we have 3 for and 4 against. So we would say that then this contract is not approved and not passed. So we go up now to number 1, and we have discussion and consideration of employment of city attorney. And do we have, Mr. Barona, is it something that you put? You want discussion and consideration of employment of city attorney? Did you want to discuss that more?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Going on with the dialogue here, I think that we need to go out and find ourselves the most competent individual that we can find in the legal field that has experience with municipal law, that can come and go ahead and guide this city and guide the 7 of us together as a team. And I think the best thing to do is that we use our job description and authorize the city manager to go ahead and advertise for this position. I think I wanted to do that for the city manager's position. We agreed, and then we changed our mind midstream. But I think that we should go out and advertise throughout Arizona and the other fields where Dr. Felix is familiar with, or on that. If you think that you can handle it, Dr. Felix, or you want to come back with a recommendation that we hire a consultant, go out for a consultant to help us with that, or if you know some people at the University of Arizona, Arizona State University College of Law that can help us, that would be very helpful. But I think we owe it to the community to find and search out the most competent individual that we can find and get the people involved in the selection process to narrow the applicants down and then submit a final 2 to us to make a decision on.
Okay. So I believe Mr. Lucero.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The only thing I would add to that is that right now we are without a city attorney.
Well,
so that
no, we have a city attorney.
No.
And this is not to vote on the city attorney. This is just a direction we're going to take until we
No, but
get.
that's not what he's saying.
I'm saying
Oh. Go ahead,
we
Councilman.
have not
Sorry.
retained a city attorney, so we need to look at getting an interim attorney.
But right now, according to the
Right now, we
to legal that we had, he still is a city
He's-
attorney
he's our
Yes.
city
until we
attorney.
get this new direction and either get another city attorney or start the process of seeking a city attorney. That was what was discussed.
Okay.
Yeah, but
And that was
okay,
what,
but
yeah.
it's kind of tight here because I'm not getting. I wish the attorney was still here.
Well,
but that's not, he said, see here, I don't know what to say, because I'm confined, I'm restricted by the executive session. So,
So he,
I
well,
I think
he continues until we do,
that's not what he said.
otherwise. And that's what, and so,
That's
so
not
we're
what he
gonna,
said.
we're gonna,
That's not what he said in there.
That's my point, right?
No,
We
he
need
gave us-
we need legal advice.
we got clear, no, we got clear,
That's not what.
John,
Well, just as a question,
do you have the guy's number? See if he can come back?
yeah.
Yeah, before he gets too far.
But anyway, Mr. Mayor,
voted on the
the
contract,
discussion
that's,
item, discussion and consideration of employment of city attorney. We can go ahead and I believe in that agenda item, name an interim city attorney.
no, that was,
No.
that was another item. This was just, to discuss that.
It's just discussion and consideration.
Yes, and we gotta put that, on the next agenda for a vote and also to get,
Well,
to seek
consideration
another.
can be considered as an action, a deal.
No.
Unless that item was to say, no action to be taken, then.
Well,
Mr. Mayor,
It's,
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
I would be very cautious to
Yes.
continue this dialogue. You ought to just kind
We
of
don't wanna open
terminate it.
ourselves for any
Either
legal
get that
lawsuits
attorney here,
Well, let him get the attorney.
yeah, either get the attorney here, or I just caution all of
Well,
you.
why don't we let him get the attorney and let's move on to item 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we, for the moment, we will leave this open.
Is coming back, Mr. Kissinger?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, okay. We'll wait here, give the attorney a
Well, we
minute.
can discuss number 3,
Get
Mr.
clarity.
Mayor. You don't want
Well,
to discuss
is
it?
he,
He
right?
comes in, we'll stop the discussion.
We don't wanna hold him up longer.
far
than-
away is he?
We don't wanna be paying more than what we have to hear. Is he on his,
Oh, no,
when you
he-
say he's on his way, where is he? Is he, how far,
This,
how many, time-wise, what do we have?
Mr. Mayor, I called Mr. Coleman and asked him, the council had further questions, could you turn around and come back? He indicated to me, he said, yes.
Oh,
That
okay,
was the
he's
end
not,
of
he's
our
not close to the
conversations.
building then. Okay, we'll go ahead and, I guess table this, number 1 till,
No,
we're just gonna postpone it for until
well,
he
we're gonna
comes back.
postpone it till he gets back.
Right.
yes.
Do I have a motion, to postpone?
I make a motion to postpone agenda item 5.1 until the trust attorney returns.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried, and we go to number 3. Discussion and possible action, freezing water rate increases for a 4-year period starting March 15, 2018 to March 15, 2022. And I put that on the agenda, just so you'll know. But I'll go ahead. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, yes. So I guess I should make a motion then, because the motion was by me to approve it, second by Mr. Rojas,
I'll second
and open for discussion. And the reason that I placed it on the agenda, been getting a lot of calls from people that they've been having a lot of problems with water rates, the water department, people are fearful that they see their rates continuing to go up, and it's been a problem. So I think right now something like a 4-year freeze would give the people, kind of some security that the rates aren't going to be going up in the near future.
Mr.
Yes,
Mayor,
go ahead.
This is another
Councilman.
situation. I mean, if we were going to discuss this, we should have had some kind of a study session. I mean, I have not looked at the water rates in 4 years, since the last time that we voted on. I mean, there's no study session. Again, we're getting in a situation where we're given something without having any knowledge behind the situation, which will only create problems, right? I have no idea how the water department is doing that. I mean, are they taking money? Can we go ahead and not have any rate increases? Preferably, I'm all for I'm the first person in the world that doesn't want any rate increases, right? If we can reduce the taxes, I'm all for that. So that's not the problem. The problem is I don't have enough knowledge to go ahead and make an honest judgment on this.
Well,
right?
let's just ask staff when the last rate
Attorney's
increase
here.
went up.
Attorney's here, let's get the attorney.
Oh, but, so now you want to postpone number
Yes.
3?
No.
Yeah.
Freeze it.
Oh,
Just come
okay,
back to it. We can just come
I'm
back.
sorry, Council, it's just that you weren't in the room, so we went to the next question. But the item, we can also postpone this one till after we finish discussing. We needed some advice, so we're going to go ahead and postpone number 3, so, because it looks like it's going to be another lengthy discussion. And so, not to take your time away, so you can finish the discussion on the previous matter. And so, do I have a motion to postpone this item, number 3, till we finish with item number 1?
So moved. Second.
Okay. All unanimous?
Yes.
All in favor, signify by
Yeah.
saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. We're back to the discussion and consideration of employment of city attorney, and I recollect you said that he was still city attorney, and.
I wouldn't, Mayor, I wouldn't repeat.
Oh,
the
that's
stuff
right,
we
I'm
discussed
sorry.
in executive session.
Okay.
If you want to ask the question.
Okay, let's let you handle it then.
Yeah,
Why don't you ask me what the question is, and I'll be happy to.
Well, just as if
I-
he's still gonna be city attorney till we say otherwise.
If you're comfortable with me saying this in public session, I can answer the question, even though it involves, legal opinion.
Well, this is just a simple question.
The answer to the question, will he be city attorney tomorrow if the council takes no action? Yes, he will continue to serve as city attorney, in my opinion, indefinitely until council takes some action to affirmatively remove him or action to do something different, but he will continue to serve.
Yes, and then the next
took
question.
action, the contract was not.
They didn't approve the contract, but he still continues to serve as an at-will employee indefinitely.
And then we had discussion and consideration, of employment of city attorney, which was what we got legal opinion from you. So that we would, because we needed that to know he was still our city attorney. And I believe we're given direction on the next step, which I don't know if we are allowed to speak on that or not.
Let me ask the question here, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Okay, the discussion is on agenda item number 1 under 5. It says discussion and consideration of employment of city attorney. As far as I understood this agenda item to mean, is that just as what we're discussing right now, that in case this happened, we would go ahead and name, let's say, an interim city attorney or somebody that would be there. I understand discussion and consideration would be an actual vote on the situation. I don't see, unless it said very plainly, not a voting, not an action item. If it said not an action item, then I understand that. But it doesn't say not an action item.
The difference is, again, it doesn't say it's an action item either. The difference.
Consideration.
It's under discussions. And the difference of opinion here is that some of us understood that he would remain city attorney until we put in the agenda an action item to serve the will of the council.
And council wants me to answer this, because we could go back into executive session to just.
Well, then we need to go back into executive session. If everybody feels more comfortable with it, we can do that.
Well,
I think he feels more comfortable.
I know that we're dealing with personnel, Mayor, and it's not good to deal with personnel items out here in front of the public, so I think we should take his suggestion and go into executive session.
Under number 3 of executive session to get more direction and guidance.
With just the trust attorney in the room with us, not Mr. Williams.
Okay.
That's fine with me.
And so I make a motion that we go back to executive session. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Howdy.
Oh, sorry. How you doing? It's nice to meet you.
Oh my God, no. I'm going to have milk money. It's $25 a month. When I went in, I may have to declare additional income. I don't know. But it's tough. First of all, this cancer is such a because of this constant.
You gonna stay around?
Yes,
Okay,
this time
good.
I'm not going anywhere.
Good, don't go
until-
anywhere.
Are we all here now?
No, oh, right.
Okay. All right. So, I call back to regular session this meeting on item 1, which is discussion consideration of employment of city attorney. I'd like to make a motion that we continue with until the next meeting, the scheduled meeting with Mr. Mark Williams. I have a second.
Second that.
Okay. Open for discussion. Okay, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, not enough, let's go do a roll call vote, I guess. We'll start, we'll do a roll call vote and start here with myself. And I vote aye to continue with Mr. Williams until the next scheduled regular meeting.
Mr. Maldonado,
Nay.
Mr. Lucero,
Aye.
Mr. Rojas,
Aye.
Mr. Barona,
No.
Mr. Henderson,
Nay.
Mr. Diaz,
Nay.
And Mayor, if I may, I have a question for Attorney Coleman. I read from New Bar Hennessian, when this matter came up at the February 7th meeting, he abstained. I don't know the exact reasons why, but would it be, I respect whatever you say, and you're obviously very intelligent, articulate, and knowledgeable. Would you be of the opinion that Mr. Hennessian has a conflict from voting?
I have no information about that subject. I would not be able to give any response either way.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to terminate the interim city attorney, Mark Williams, effective immediately.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, open for discussion. Seeing none, we call for the question. Oh, I'm sorry, here, Mr. Lucero.
Just a question on if the attorney is terminated, do we have to name an interim attorney at this point, or not?
That's a question for
Yes.
me. It's not agendized to.
So even if we wanted to, we couldn't?
But it was on the agenda. It was
Okay.
removed.
So, all right.
It's not agendized, so it's not something the council could act upon at this meeting. It would have to be agendized.
Okay.
Okay. So, any other discussion, questions? Seeing none, I call for the question. And you want to read the motion again, so we're all clear that terminate immediately was Mr. Williams as our city attorney?
Interim city.
Interim city attorney. Okay. We'll do a roll call vote, so that'll be clear. And we'll start with Mr. Diaz this time.
Yes.
Mr. Henderson,
Yes.
Mr. Barona,
Aye.
Mr. Rojas,
Nay.
Nay.
Mr. Lucero, Mr. Maldonado,
Aye.
Mayor Doyle,
Nay. Okay, we have 4-3. Mr. Williams, your service with the city has been terminated. We want to thank you for the time you were here.
It's been an
It's been a
honor, sir.
pleasure having you work for us. Wish you the best. You've been a great attorney, and I know you're going to have success in whatever else you continue to do in your field.
It's been an honor, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Okay, so now we're done with, oh, no. We postponed item 3, and we're going to go ahead and go back to number 3, which was discussion and possible action on freezing water rate increases for a 4-year period.
May I be excused, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And what we have here is from March 15, 2018, March 15, 2022. And I don't know what point, I guess we got started, and I think we left off at discussion.
Yes.
So it's open for discussion. And
I call for the question, Mayor.
okay, we'll call for the question and vote on this for approving the freezing the water rate increase for a 4-year period starting March 15, 2018 to March 15, 2022. And I'll go ahead. We'll start, well, I guess.
Roll call.
It's a roll call.
Roll call?
Roll call.
Roll call. Okay, so we'll do roll call, and we'll start with myself this time. And I vote aye to approve for the 4-year freezing of increases on the water rate.
Mr. Maldonado? I'm sorry.
We were in discussion with this item, you know, and didn't.
I think we're called for the question.
Yeah, I sustain from.
You abstain?
Abstain.
Mr. Lucero?
No.
Mr. Rojas?
Aye.
Mr. Barahona?
Yes, I'd like to, but before I vote, I would like to explain my vote. I just want to say that I could be in favor of this, or I could not be in favor of this. But what I want, before I make a decision, I have an obligation to my constituents to have all the documentation and the consequences and a formal recommendation from staff. I don't have a formal recommendation from staff. This is not how you run a city government. So my vote is no.
Mr. Venecian?
I have exactly the same thing. I mean, we can't just do it, let's do it tonight. There's got to have been a study session. I'm basically for not raising anything. I'm basically for reducing taxes and everything, as I've said before. But again, I can't go ahead and vote for this without really knowing what the consequences are. What do we have? I don't even know how much money we have. You know, it's been discussed. Nobody's ever given us an exact number. I really don't know how much this will really increase. The people's, I see this, there's one little bigger increase for 2018, and then the 2019 is a very little increase. Maybe we can come up with a deal where it's spread out more evenly for the 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. Maybe we can come up with something. All I can say is I see places like Tubac that multiply what the water rate is by 2 or 3, not adding 10% or 5% or whatever. They multiply it by 2 or 3. I see the city of Tucson doing the same thing, increasing it. I see the city of Sierra Vista doing the same thing. So the city of Nogales has basically kept it low. That's what I would like. I would like to keep it low, but I also have to find out what exactly it is. We can't run the city overnight and just let's see what happens, throw it out there and let's see what happens. So my vote is also no.
Mr. Diaz?
I'd like to explain my reason. I hate to increase services for our constituents. I hate paying taxes. I mean, everybody hates paying taxes, but we do not. I hate rate increases, but our consultant came in, 3 years ago or something like that, and he laid out this plan for us because of our aging infrastructure, and we need $21 million for, it was a 5-year plan, and we needed to raise $21 million to repair our aging infrastructure, to remove all those pipes that were 100 years old underground and have lead in them and stuff like that. So we need to keep our residents safe. We need to provide good services to our residents. And I agree with Councilman Baron and Councilman Genesian. I'm going to have to vote no on this.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All right, we'll call for the question. Oh, we did. Oh, you're giving a reason. Yeah, that was the last one. Okay.
Just explain.
All right, but get
You
in.
guys are discussing.
Okay,
votes.
so now we have the vote.
We have,
And we're-
4 no, 2 A, and an abstain.
And I guess this will carry the nays. And now we're down to the final, the final part that everybody likes. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Mayor.
Adjourn? Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, before we do it, and we don't have a future agenda item list there, but I would like to have a study session on the water rates.
Can't do that.
Okay,
It's not
well-
on the agenda. You're breaking the law.
Well, we're gonna go ahead, okay,
an
we're gonna
attorney
go
who
ahead
tell
and
you
pick a
that.
date, check with everyone, and get a study session. All right, thank you. So, all those in favor signify by saying aye to adjourn. All right, meeting adjourned, thank you.
John.